Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today I've got Carolyn joining me. Hey, Carolyn.
Hi, everyone.
Hey guys, we have an exciting video about circumstances and how they don't matter. And we are going to help you to be able to get past your story and your circumstances. We're going to give you some tips on how you can do that. And Carolyn's got a great success story from one of her clients. So we're completely excited. And as you guys know, Carolyn is a certified hypnotherapist as well as a neurolinguistic programming practitioner, same as myself. So she's actually got some great hypnosis affirmation tracks available. Her most recent one is how to get an avalanche of texts from your specific person. So I know sometimes people say, well, you know, manifesting a text isn't really living from the end, but it is. I mean, the end, living from the end of what you want is everything you're going to see, hear, and feel when you're there. So if, you know, you're manifesting a committed relationship, are you going to text your specific person? Are they going to text you? Absolutely. So if that's something that you want as part of your future, then yes, it is living from your end. And her hypnosis track is definitely amazing. They're very calming. They do have an induction. So make sure you do it somewhere safe. Like not in a bathtub or driving. Somewhere where you can relax, close your eyes. And I know we've had this question a lot when you're doing these affirmation tracks or any hypnosis. Is it okay to fall asleep? Absolutely. Chances are you probably are going to fall asleep because you're in a calm state and you're not really sleeping. You're in a hypnotic state and your subconscious mind is just soaking it all in. So it's a great way to reprogram your mind quickly. I personally love hypnosis. I think it works really, really well. And yeah, it just gives you that extra little bit. So link is in the description for her hypnosis track. She's got a couple other ones as well. And guys, we are giving away a free course, how to find your blocks to manifest anything fast. It's going to help you basically clean up and, you know, create a great, strong mental diet for what you want. Because as we know, your assumptions, your thoughts, your mental diet is key to manifesting what you want. Focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. And that's why we're going to dive straight into this video about circumstances don't matter. And we've got a great success story. So yes, I'm so excited to hear it.
Yeah, so I met with a lady and there were her story, the one I'm going to tell you today, it's in 3 parts. And we go back to each time to circumstances don't matter. And now I'll explain as we go. So she was dating a gentleman and everything was fine for a while. And then suddenly he broke the news that he did not want a serious relationship. So that kind of statement can come strongly as definite because it's quite hurtful. Well, at least it was hurtful in her case. And when they hurt that bad, they come as such a declaration. It seems almost impossible to overcome because the other person has told you. So she was at that point she was not working with me. So she dwelled on her sadness for a while and of the fact. And what happened was that little by little the relationship completely dissipated. They almost had no contact. They would talk once in a while, but they did not see each other for a few months. So that's when I met her. And I said, okay, that's fine. We're going to get him back. So we had affirmation, you know, my SP. I'll give you a couple of affirmation for the situation. My SP is 100% committed to me. All he thinks about, I'm the best thing that has ever happened to him. So I explained to her, you know, that indeed the past did not matter, that at each moment we can recreate. And she worked on those affirmations. And so he reached out. And the funny thing, which I love, is that he actually verbally exactly told her one of her affirmations that he was the best thing that had ever happened to him. So this is beautiful because that's always a proof that your affirmations are being pushed out, right? So things improved, continued dating, and she reassured herself with the fact that they were dating. But in reality, she was not quite happy with the quality of the relationship. She just said it was not satisfying to her because they were together, but he was distant, like next to him, but distant. So, you know, I said, all right, what is it that you want? And she explained that she wanted him to be, more involved, more initiate contact. And then when they were together, be in public and kiss her, grab her, hold her hand. So we went with those affirmations. He, SP, initiates the text. He updates me throughout the day. He lets me know if he's going to be late. He shows affection, for example, in public. He grabs me, he holds me, he always holds my hands, he kisses me, even in public. So, she told me what she wanted and we wrote the affirmation, but she looked at me and she goes, no, this is not going to happen. I mean, I've known the guy for 2 years. That's not him. I mean, he just is not that type of guy. He's never going to hold my hand. I mean, she was like, you're dreaming. So this is where the principle of circumstances don't matter kick in. What does it mean? So how do you change like a whole behavior that you have witnessed, you experienced for years with someone like she did? You need to understand that each moment is independent from the other. So one moment or one manifestation is linked to a thought or an assumption or belief that you had previously. And then the next moment is also linked to an assumption. But usually, like in her case, she, for 2 years, believed that this guy was not very affectionate. So that's an assumption that she continued at each moment to believe. It was running in the back of her brain. So that's why she continuously saw this behavior. But you have to think about it like in terms of like each moment would be a slide. Like this right now is a slide and it's linked to an assumption. And it only seems linear, like past, present, and future, because that's how we think we experience life. And in reality, they are independent from each other. Each slide is independent from the other. So it's like at each moment of the day, you have a chance to hit the reset button. So that's why we would say circumstances don't matter, because right now I'm gonna stop, continuing to believe that this guy is not affectionate. Indeed, he is. He's gonna hold my hand. And then you continue with your affirmation until it becomes, more of a belief, and until it does just push out in the realities, until you get to experience it. So that's how the illusion of the linear process, can collapse in your mind. And for you to understand better is to have this understanding of that each moment would be like a separate slide linked to the assumptions. So we changed her. She changed her assumptions, and let's see. So she went with it. SP loves and adores me. When he looks at me, the love he has for me shines through his eyes, and I see it in the way he smiles at me too. He always lovingly grabs me, holds my hand, and kisses me in public. So at that point, she was just laughing. She was like, no, you're just, out of your mind with those affirmations. This did not describe the man she was involved with whatsoever. But she did persist, and they went on a date after a couple weeks, and she called me, and she could not even believe it herself. But the night was exactly that. The entire night, he was almost petting her at dinner. Then they walked around, he was holding her hand. They went to the movies again, kissing her, holding her hand during the entire movie. So this is how you can absolutely change and overturn any behavior, any circumstances, actually, even the one that you don't believe. It's just because, you don't need to continue to think what you always thought of someone. Right? It becomes independent from the past. That's why we say circumstances don't matter.
Exactly. Like having a really short memory of the past is like so super helpful. Like so super helpful. I think what I do myself too is, what I say people can change. So, and I also, if I look back in any behavior that I've created that I don't like, I attempt not to dwell on it. I let it go. And that's what, for me, letting go with law of assumption is letting go of the things I don't want, letting go of the memories I don't want, letting go of, the thoughts that I don't want, letting go of holding on to the behavior that annoys me that I don't want. And how do we let go of it? We simply stop thinking about it. We simply start focusing on what we want instead. And, I've recreated lots of people. And what I find that helps me is I write down a list of all the things that I want to change. And then I take those things that I don't like, and then I write and I change them into things that I want instead. So if it's like, oh, he never listens to me, and then I'll cross it out and go, I intend that he always listens to me and tells me that he loves to listen to talk to me, for me to talk for hours. I can't talk today. And go through each and every one of those things, right? For me, it helps for me to look at it and go, okay, I've created that behavior in the past. I'm going to create this instead. Because when we focus on something that we don't want, we're going to constantly get it. So if you do have a relationship where you had some, moments of good, behavior that you liked, focus on that, really dwell in those thoughts, and then they'll show back up again. And when you are dwelling on the thoughts of, when they, say did something that you didn't like, stop yourself and say, well, what do I want instead? And start making intentions and focusing on that area. It's so important for us to focus on what we want instead. Now, the other thing that is super helpful is create a list of little mini manifestations. Like really have that magic every day of everyone is you pushed out, like constantly, because that's going to be so helpful when something that you want to change, you look at it, you're like, oh no, I got this, because you've got the confidence in yourself. So whether it be, someone buys me coffee, I don't know, like I wanted a zebra purse. My mom showed up with a zebra wallet that I wanted. Like just little things like that, go throughout your day creating those. Like I remember one of my friends wanted a rose, and she was a teacher, and one of her students brought her a rose. So these little tiny things throughout the day, every day that you create, help to bring you back to, okay, you know what? I can let go of my past. This is what I want instead, right?
Yes. And so that's very helpful to build your confidence and to keep on going. So when you want to really have a behavior, let's say, like I described earlier, that's completely different from what you've been seeing for years, and you don't believe it, so you do your affirmations, and then suddenly it happens. I see a lot of clients, what they do at that moment, they have a little time of freak out, like, oh my God, it happened. Can I handle it? Or is it too good to be true? Or was it just like a freak moment? And the little reaction of freaking out, of even being in shock, not so much being in shock, but not believing it and stepping back, will have the person revert to the personality that you were used to. So it's super important that the moment you start seeing those signs of this incredible 180-degree change, you have to persist. Go over your little freak out moment and persist, so you don't revert back until it becomes an integrated assumption. Then it's your new truth, your new belief, and then you're good to go.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing, right, is, it's saying people are capable of changing. People change. And I mean, everybody that you meet in your reality, they're basically just blank slates, and they're going to show up the way that you assume them to show up, because everyone is you pushed out, and everybody's just showing up for you in accordance to your assumptions, and what I find helpful to not like create, badness in a relationship with anybody is if anything does happen where like maybe, I don't know, they like snap at me or they are less affectionate, I'm like, okay, they're just tired. you know what, they're just tired. This isn't normal. And I never try to like, you know, make whatever behavior that I see become a part of their personality. I'm like, I make an excuse for it. Like, oh, they're just tired. They'll be fine tomorrow. Oh, they're not usually like this. This is odd. They're going to be like the way they usually are. They're going to be back to their old self. You know what I mean? And I really try to do that rather than to start like, you know, basically attaching those Post-it notes and keeping them stuck there. Like, oh, they're always crabby with this. They're, you know what I mean? Right. So, you know.
Yeah. And once again, always go back to your mental diet. So you just look at what you want to change, improve, and that's it. You rephrase it, you restate it, and that's it. These are your new intentions, and you go and you stay on them. I mean, always the same story. Mental diet, stay on track. You go.
Exactly. Well, this was awesome. I intend that it's helped a lot of people, and I intend the tips that we gave you, you're able to implement them and to, you know, basically let go of any circumstances, because focusing on those circumstances or just holding them in place. And, you know, remember, you can be, do, and have anything you want. Anybody can be different from yesterday to today. And you know, everything in your life can. It's just up to you and what you choose to focus on and the thoughts that you choose to entertain. So thank you so much for being here today, Carolyn.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, everybody.
And guys,
Bye-bye.
thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.